शलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनः सहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदां सहगणा ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे नमो महावदान्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामने गौरत्विषे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगे राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा. So welcome all of you in today's session. Due to some unavoidable reasons, I started the session late. Uh, I I had to stay back for a session which extended a little bit beyond time. So that's how we are starting now. Okay, so we are continuing our discussions from Tattva Sandarbha. So we are in Anuched 10 now. Until Anuched 9, we especially Anuched 9 discussion has been happening from many, I think almost 3 sessions now. Yeah, 2 or 3 sessions. So in this Anucheda, we have discussed about the pramanas, various pramanas. Jiv Goswami has enlisted 10 pramanas, right? So we saw about, we have seen the pramanas, especially they can all be put under Pratyaksha, Anuman and Shabda. And these are the 3 main pramanas. The rest of the pramanas can be put under these headings. And we have seen elaborately, with some elaboration, Pratyaksha Praman, Anuman Praman, and also Shabda Praman, right? So we saw various concepts involved in these Pramanas. We also saw about the 4 defects, Brahma, Pramad, Vipralipsa, Karna, Patava, because of which, apart from Shabda, all other Pramanas, they become not so much reliable. They become marked with these 4 faults, 4 defects, and that is why are not so much reliable in understanding of absolute truth. So Shabda Praman is the best, and in that also Apaurushaya Shabda Praman, right? Not the Paurushaya. A general Shabda Praman or Laukik Shabda Praman is also accepted, but Apaurushaya Shabda Praman is what is needed in understanding absolute truth. So that is what Chirajiv Goswami has concluded. So now we will proceed today. He speaks further about this pramanas, and finally, I mean, especially Shabda Praman, he establishes further in 2 more Anuchedas, 10 and 11, by giving also Vedic references to prove that how Shabda Praman is the highest, how Veda is the highest Praman. So he has what is his scheme? What he has done in Anuched 9 is he has explained all the pramanas, and by practical means, by logic, he has shown that how these pramanas are defective as compared to Shabda Praman. And for the same purpose, now he will also give Vedic references which say that how absolute truth can be understood only by Shabda. Uh, Tarka Pratishthanat, Va Shrutestu Shabda Mulatvat, Shastra Yonitvat, all such sutras, Brahma Sutras he quotes, also some other verses like quoting from Mahabharata and all that. Achintya khalu he bhava natans tarkena yojayet, and all such verses he quotes. So this is going to be Anuched 10 and 11 will be a quicker discussion, and then from Anuched 12 onwards we will talk about history of Vedas and how Bhagavatam also is as authoritative as Shruti. The crux of this Praman Khanda will start from Anuched 12. So we will just complete this Anuched 10 and 11 in a session, maybe today or maybe just some part of tomorrow. It will be done. And tomorrow I will begin with Anuched 12 also. Okay, so just sharing the screen. So for those of you who wish to look in Srila Bhanuswami Maharaj's translation of Baldev Vidyabhushan's commentary, so please look into it. I am reading from Anuched 10. So this is the original Sanskrit text. If you wish to see Anuvad, you may see that in translation. Okay. So this is Anuched 10. Tatastani na pramanani. So he is saying, Jiva Goswami is saying, so that is why tataha means therefore. So thereafter or therefore. Tani na pramanani. So that's why all those pramanas like Pratyaksha, Anuman, Shabda, and all of them, they are not the pramanas. He says basically they are not the reliable pramanas. So you remember we discussed all that. Each one of the pramanas, how there is, it is marked with some defect. Primarily because there are 4 defects of a conditioned soul. So because of which the entire Pratyaksha or Anuman or Abhav or Sambhava, whatever, they all also become marked with these errors. We saw Pratyaksha in that also. There is Vaidush Pratyaksha, Avaidush Pratyaksha, Nirvikalpaka Pratyaksha, Savikalpaka Pratyaksha. In Anuman, we saw that how there can be a fault made in Vyapti, and there can be Visham Vyapti, or the Hetu itself could be incorrect, Hetva Bhas. So because of all such errors, he is concluding saying, Tataha Tani na pramanani. That is why those pramanas are not considered actual pramanas. See, tataha means Baldev Vidyabhushan says, Brahmadi dosha yogat. He says down here, you can see Shri Baladev Vidyabhushan Krita Tika, right? So in that tataha he explains that as Brahmadi dosha yoga, because there are these faults, these 4 defects, imperfect senses and all that. So because of that, those pramanas are not very reliable. So then what is the actual praman? He says, Veda eva asmakam pramanam. Actually, Veda is only our praman. Veda is the real praman. Vedavani, Vedvak is our praman. And before that, he says, see here, Anadi Siddha Sarva Purush Paramparasu Sarva Laukik Alaukik Jnana Nidanatvat Aprakrit Vachana Lakshano Veda Eva Asmakam Pramanam. I'll read this line also later. But you understand what he's saying is Ved is only our Pramana. And that Veda is described by this long line. Anadi Siddha Sarva Purush Paramparasu. So actually Veda is Anadi Siddha, he says. Anadi Siddha means Veda is, it is timeless. It is eternal. It is Sanatan. Veda is not created at any time. Veda is co-eternal with the Supreme Lord, right? So that is the meaning of Anadi Siddha. Jiva Goswami explains this in his Sarva Samvadi, that Anadi Siddha is referring to Veda, Vedvani. And that eternal Veda or Sanatan Veda that comes down in Sarva Purush Paramparasu. It comes down in various successions, the disciplic successions of devatas, of humans. Sarva Purush, here Purush means the human beings or beings. So it can mean devatas, disciplic succession in devatas, or disciplic succession in manavas, different disciplic succession. So that Veda, which is received in different disciplic successions, that is our real pramana, he is saying. And that Veda is also said to be Sarva Laukik Alaukik Jnana Nidanatva. That Vedas are Nidana. Nidana means source or shelter. Nidana means source or shelter. So these Vedas are source of all Laukika Jnana as well as Alaukika Jnana. Laukika Jnana means the worldly knowledge. Alaukik Jnana means also the transcendental knowledge. So Vedas, you know that they are considered to be treasure house. They are considered to be desire tree. They have the knowledge which is needed in material life as well as in spiritual life, right? So Baldev Vidyabhushan says Laukika here means Karma Vidya, Alaukik here means Brahma Vidya. He says that down here. You can see. He's explaining here. Sarva Paramparasu. Brahma Utpanneshu Deva Manavadeshu. Sarva Parampara means all the devatas and manavas born from Brahma, like that. Laukika Jnanam, he says Karma Vidya. Alaukik Jnanam, Brahma Vidya. Brahma Vidya is transcendental knowledge. Karma Vidya is the knowledge of ritualistic activities as well as knowledge, the mundane aspect of the knowledge. That is what he means. So, what is Jiva Goswami here? He's saying in this Anucheda is that this is why, for all these reasons, Veda is only our real Praman. Be it mundane knowledge or be it transcendental knowledge. Source of both the knowledges is actually Veda only. Aprakrut Vachan Lakshana Veda. He says that Veda is Aprakrut Vachan. It's the transcendental, or it's not a mundane sound vibration. Aprakrut. It's a transcendental sound vibration. That's the point. And that is only our real Pramana. Why is that? Because he says, Sarvatita Sarvashraya Sarvachintya Ashcharya Subhavam Vastu Vividishatam. Because we want to know, we want to gain the knowledge, Vividishatam. The knowledge of what? Vastu, the knowledge of the absolute truth, the real substance. And how is that substance described? It is described as Sarvatita, Sarvashraya, Sarvachintya, Ashcharya Swabhava. That absolute truth is transcendental to everything. It is shelter of everything. It is Sarvachintya Ashcharya Swabhava. It has a nature which is inconceivable, and wondrous nature is there, that absolute truth. So if you wish to know that absolute truth, Veda eva asmakam pramanam. Veda is only our pramana. This is what Srila Jiva Goswami is saying here. See, basically 9, Anuched 9, 10, 11, they are in continuation. They want to establish how Veda is the only reliable pramana. Other pramanas are reliable to the degree they follow Vedas. But Veda is the real reliable praman. That is what he wants to establish in 9, 10, 11. So in Anuched 9, he spoke about all those 10 pramanas and fourfold defects of the jivas and limitations of all these pramanas. And then in Anuched 10, he is saying, because of all those reasons, Veda is actually the real praman. Whether it is mundane knowledge, whether it is spiritual knowledge, whatever you want to know, actually Veda is the real praman. Veda is faultless. It is free from all the defects, like that. That because absolute truth is by nature, it is transcendental, it is achintya, it is inconceivable, right? So if we have to know absolute truth, we can't approach by pratyaksha or anuman or like that. You have to know absolute by uh, revelation, by revelation of the absolute. So that is done in the Veda. So that is why Veda is only our Praman. This is what he is saying. That's basically the point in this particular Anucheda. So what Baldev Vidyabhushan has done is actually what we discussed in last few sessions. That was discussed from Sri Jiva Goswami's commentary. Baldev Vidyabhushan, what he has done is in this Anuched, he has drawn entirely from Sri Jiva Goswami's commentary, which we have already discussed actually. Where does Pratyaksha go wrong? Where does Anuman go wrong? How Anuman can fail wherever there is the Vyapti is failing, or wherever Hitvabhas is there. So that is what he has written into this particular Anucheda's commentary. He says even Aptavakya, sometimes we see that Aptavakya can also fail. Aptavakya in the sense, he's not talking about Paurusheya, but Paurusheya Shabda. It can also sometimes fail, right? Sometimes we see that there is difference between rishis also. So that's why what is faultless is not even Paurusheya Shabda. Only Paurusheya Shabda is faultless. This is what he is saying. See, ekena aptena munina समर्थितस्य अपरेण तादृशेन दूषितत्वात्. अब भाई आप्त वाक्य भी बोला आपने, शब्द एज आप्त वाक्य, but sometimes one muni crosses another muni, right? One muni says something and another muni says completely opposite. So that's why merely apta vakya is also not a definition of shabda pramana. It has to be a paurusheya shabda, like that, isn't it? That is what is a rishi. Nasav rishi yasya matam na bhinnam, it is said. That person is not a rishi if he doesn't have a different opinion. Mahabharata says that, isn't it? Then only he is called as rishi. But the point is, in apaurushaya shabda praman, all those contradictions may get resolved. That kind of contradiction will not be there in apaurushaya. This is his point. So basically, in this tika, he has just shown all the limitations of all other pramanas, which we have already discussed, actually, elaborately discussed, in fact, in last few sessions. So that's why there is not much anything separate is there in this commentary. You can even go through the translation. You will find that the things are all discussed already from there. So that's why he quotes here Manu, who says, Pratyaksham manumanam cha shastram cha vividhagamam trayam suviditam karyam dharma shuddhim apipsata. He's quoting Manu Smriti, where Manu says, so this is why Pratyaksha, Anuman and Shastra, meaning Veda, these three should be accepted as pramanas. They act very well for one who is desiring the purification by dharma. Meaning Pratyaksha, Anuman and Veda, these are considered to be final useful pramanas, like that. And in that also, the Veda is considered the highest pramana. This is what is spoken by Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan. So he quotes some other pramanas also, how Veda is aprakrit, Veda is transcendental. The sound of the Vedas is transcendental, it is faultless, it is impeccable, like that. So that is all spoken by him in this particular Anucheda. So I just have few points over this, which I will speak from Sarvasamvadi, and then take a pause for anything that you wish to discuss. So Srila Jiva Goswami has written a very elaborate commentary on this Sarvasamvadi, but it is highly complex and involves a lot of ideas from Shad Darshanas. So I am taking only some points from there. At a later point of time, when we will undergo I mean, all of you will undergo a course on basics of Shad Darshanas, then we can discuss these ideas. At this point, they might sound extremely difficult to understand. Ideas like Spotavad and ideas like Vatspati Mishra's many ideas that Jiv Goswami is doing quite extensive, complex analysis of Shabda Praman aspects. But I do know and understand that it will need for all of you to know certain principles from Artha Sangraha, Mimamsa Sutras, certain ideas even from Nyaya and all that. So I am not going to take a lot of stuff from there. We can discuss this at a later point of time. No problem. So certain points that I want to speak quickly on this based on Sarva Samvadini. So first is when we talk about Shabda, then do we reject Pratyaksha and Anuman completely? Is it that are we rejecting Pratyaksha and Anuman? So Srila Goswami says, no, we are not rejecting Pratyaksha and Anuman, but we are rejecting the idea that they are absolute pramans. Pratyaksha and Anuman do have validity. When we say Shabda Praman is only highest in that Apaurushaya Shabda, that doesn't mean that we are rejecting or considering Pratyaksha and Anuman as useless. No. We are saying that Pratyaksha and Anuman are not useless, but they are incomplete. They are not absolute Pramans. If they are assisting Shabda, if they are following Shabda, then they can be considered useful. Like that. So that is how Pratyaksha and Anuman are useful. Point is what? Even Shabda, when we are receiving through our senses, so even Shabda is being taken in through Pratyaksha only, no? We are hearing the Vani and then taking inside and trying to understand by our mind and intelligence. So even even Shabda is being taken inside and being understood through the Pratyaksha only, isn't it? So how can Pratyaksha be useless? It is not useless. But the point is that it is taken, and we do understand that Pratyaksha is useful to the degree it accepts Shabda and it strives to follow Shabda. Whatever is said in Shabda, we want to understand in accordance with that. We want to utilize Pratyaksha and Anuman like that. If Pratyaksha and Anuman are defying Shabda, they are going against Shabda, then what we do is we Pratyaksha and Anuman are considered their faulty. Shabda is only considered the supreme. Even though we sometimes may find Pratyaksha and Anuman going against the Shabda, Prabhupada would give example of, the famous example of cow dung, how cow dung is pure. Or he would give the example of the conch shell as pure. Although considered bone of an animal, the conch shell is considered pure and we keep it on the altar, isn't it? Same way, cow dung, although stool of an animal, is considered very pure. So Pratyaksha and Anuman may contradict what we are seeing in the Vedas, but then we still accept Vedas only as the Praman. And it may or may not, after some time, be proven that actually Shabda is only true. Pratyaksha sometimes may prove it, sometimes may not prove it also. Like after certain time, then they proved that yes, cow dung has antiseptic qualities and that's why it is considered very pure. So fine, now Pratyaksha is also confirming Shabda. But whether it confirms or doesn't confirm, we have faith in Vedas. Should be known by all the followers of Vedas. For the people who are faithless, we try to create Anuma as confirmation of the right. See, even discover yourself sessions, what we do. Shabda Praman, we in order to prove Shabda Praman is highest, in order to prove Shabda Praman is highest, we utilize Pratyaksha and Anuman there, isn't it? All the natures, all those findings are shown which are from Shabda Praman, and then how they are shown by our Pratyaksha and Anuman as true. All the researches in maths and researches in Ayurveda and Sthapatya Ved and Dhanurved, we quote that. So what we are doing there is we are trying to confirm Shabda by Pratyaksha and Anuman. But that is not needed. That is not needed for a Vedic follower. It is needed for somebody who doesn't have that faith in Shabda. That is why we do for outsiders. And that is perfectly justified because people don't have faith in Shabda Praman in Vedas. So we get them to believe and have faith in Vedas by utilizing Pratyaksha and Anuman. So that is very important. That is how we should do it. But as an implicit follower of Veda, we should know that whether Pratyaksha or Anuman confirms Vedavani or not, we still have faith that Vedavani is only highest. And that is only the real Praman. That is Swataha Praman. There was one person called as Kumarila Bhatta. Some of you might have heard this person. Kumarila Bhatta was a very great scholar of Mimamsa, Karma Mimamsa. And Kumarila Bhatta, he was in an era before Shankaracharya. A very scholar of, but that time, before Shankaracharya, that was the era where Buddhism was very prominent, and Buddhists were ruling everywhere. So that's why Kumarila Bhatta had this great desire that he wanted to defeat Buddhism and drive Buddhism away, like that. So Kumarila Bhatta, although he was a very staunch Vedic follower, Mimamsa, Mimamsa, Karma Mimamsa followers are also very staunch Vedic followers. They have great faith in Vedas, implicit faith in Vedas. This person, Kumarila Bhatta, he wanted to defeat, but in order to defeat Buddhism, you have to know their ideology. So he went to Nalanda University, which was taken over by Buddhists. He learned Buddhism, pretending as who is aspirant of Buddhism, stayed Buddhist guru, and he, under his guru, he learned all the ideas of Buddhism. So he was pretending, he was showing as if he is a Buddhist follower, like that. So all that was done for the sake of learning Buddhism, so that he would later defeat Buddhism this way. So then while he was there staying, so such was his faith in Vedas, how Vedas are the Shabda Praman, Apaurusheya Shabda, and they are faultless. They have absolutely no errors. That one time when his Buddhist guru was criticizing Vedas, so tears started flowing from eyes of Kumarila Bhatta. So when tears, this story is like Ramanujacharya, right? Yadav Prakash was criticizing form. He said, Sampurnarikam eva moksham. So then Ramanujacharya felt so devastated. Hot tears of grief came from his eyes. So similarly, stories like similar. So Kumarila Bhatta started crying, and when tears were seen by his Buddhist teacher, so he became very angry, saying that, oh, actually he is pretending to be Buddhist. Actually, he seems to be Sanatana. He's Vedas are criticized. So then he understood that he's pretending. So he was expelled from his Gurukula. Drove him out. But expelled means what? So they didn't just expel, but they wanted to punish him. So they took him on the tower of Nalanda University, they took him on the tower of Nalanda University. I mean, it was a little high tower. It had some height. And they said, we will push you down from this place, this elevation. If you feel Vedas are the pramana, then you should be protected. We will push you down from this high place of height, and we will push you down. If you are saved, if you don't get any injuries, then we accept that Veda is highest Pramana. And if you get the injuries, then you should accept that Vedas is not the highest Pramana. Like that. So, of course, that was a stupid idea, right? He should, I mean, he could have said, no, I will push you down the tower. And if you get injuries, then you accept that Buddhism is nonsense. And if you don't get any injuries, then I will accept your path, like that. So he could have said that also. That, but anyhow, so they said that if you don't get any injuries, we will push you down, and if you don't get any injuries, then we will accept that Vedas is the highest Pramana, like that. So they said, what do you say? So then Kumarila Bhatta said, okay, he had some great faith, that he thought, I have such faith in Vedas, so may, even if I push down from this place, Vedas will protect me. Like that kind of faith was there. So they really pushed him down from that high place of the height, and he fell down, and he didn't get any injury, but he got injury in his eye. One of his eyes got injured. He lost one eye that way. So then they came to him and said that, see, you got an injury, right? So thus Vedas are not Praman, like that. So then Kumarila Bhatta said, see, before falling, he had said that Yadi Vedaha Pramanam Tarhi na kinchit me vartate. He said, if Vedas are the highest Praman, then nothing will happen to me. He said like that before he was being pushed down. Yadi Vedaha Pramanam, agar Ved Praman hai, to mujhe niche girne ke baad kuch nahi hoga. So when he fell down and his one eye was spoiled, injured, so then they said, see, Veda is not a Praman. So that time he said that actually Veda is highest Praman only. There was lack from my side, because I said Yadi Vedaha Pramanam. Agar Ved Praman hai to. Actually, I should have said Veda is only Praman, and that's why nothing will happen to me. But because I used that word Yadi, I had that doubt in Veda, and that's why, I lost my eye. If I didn't have any doubt, then I would not have, there wouldn't be any injury like that. So they were like shocked to see his faith in the Vedas and this thing. So anyhow, so Kumarila Bhatta then left that school and later became a very great exponent of this Karmakanda, and he defeated a lot of Buddhists and became very prominent scholar of Vedas that way. Shankaracharya later wanted to debate with Kumarila Bhatta, you know that. But Kumarila Bhatta was going to give up his life. He had put himself in a fire in the straw, and he was doing self-immolation. He was burning himself. Why was that? Because he thought that he had speaking lies that he wants to become Buddhist. He had taken education from his guru, Buddhist guru. So he cheated his Buddhist guru. So he thought that whatever, although that Buddhist guru was not proper, but then he spoke lies to a teacher, and because of which he did a prayashchit finally. Although he knew that Buddhism is completely Gnostic philosophy, but that's how, the follower of Karmakand is, right, quite morally upright. That's how they are. And he felt that he had cheated his guru by learning from him Buddhism, and then finally defeating Buddhism only and driving them all away this way. So that's fine. We are not into analyzing that part. But then Shankaracharya came to him and wanted him to comment on his Vedanta. So that's when Kumarila Bhatta said, no, I am just giving up my body now. But you can go to Mandana Mishra, who is my disciple. So that's how Shankaracharya was directed to Mandan Mishra, Mahishmati, where in MP, Narmada river. So Shankaracharya went there to debate with Mandan Mishra. So that was Kumarila Bhatta. Srila Jiva Goswami quotes also many times from his explanation of Jaimini Sutras. He has written a very famous commentary on Jaimini Sutras, Tantra Bhakti. So the faith in the Vedas, that aspect of very staunch faith in the Vedas, whether Pratyaksha and Anuman confirm it or they don't confirm it. Veda is Swatah Praman. It is independent of Pratyaksha and Anuman. Okay. So even as followers of Vedas, we should not get disturbed if Pratyaksha and Anuman goes contrary to the Vedas. Like that, because Veda is Swatah Praman. Veda doesn't depend on Pratyaksha and Anuman for establishment. We may do that for the sake of modern audience, postmodern audience. We may do that. That is okay. But implicitly, we have the faith that actually Veda is only the Praman. Whether Pratyaksha and Anuman helps it or Pratyaksha and Anuman contradicts it. It doesn't matter like that. Veda is Swatah Praman. It is self-effulgent. That is what is the point of Veda being called as Anadi Siddha, being called as self-evident, Swatah Praman. That word is used many places in Shastra like that. So that is the point. So whether contradicted by Pratyaksha or Anuman or supported by Pratyaksha and Anuman, Vedas remain independent of any other Praman, like that. So this idea is accepted by Karma Mimamsa. This idea is accepted by all the followers of yoga. In fact, all Astik schools, all the Astik means you understand, all the Indian school, Shaddarshan schools of philosophy, they accept this idea that Veda is actually the real Praman as far as absolute truth is concerned. This way. So even Vedanta or even impersonalists, Mayavadis also, all of them, they will accept that the Shabda Praman and Apaurusha Shabda Praman, that is what is the highest. In Sarva Samvadini, Jiva Goswami quotes also from one Vachaspati Mishra. So this was one of the very prominent commentators on Shankaracharya's works. Vachaspati Mishra was a writer of a book called as Bhamati, and he very much made Shankaracharya's works very famous. Certain commentators have made Shankaracharya's works very, very famous, actually, later commentators like Anandagiri and Vachaspati Mishra. So Jiva Goswami in Sarva Samvadini is surprisingly quoting from Vachaspati Mishra also, who has written Mayavadi commentary actually. But Jiva Goswami is not obviously corroborating his Mayavad, but only this aspect of how Veda is independent, Swatantra Praman, a Swatah Praman. It is self-evident. It doesn't need any other Praman to confirm it. If it confirms, it's fine. If it doesn't confirm, still we accept it as Praman. That. So somebody may consider it as some kind of fanaticism or like that. No, but the point is, that is how Veda is. Veda is Swatah Praman. See, it's a matter of having that right kind of consciousness or the level of enlightenment. And then the Veda will manifest to you as Swatah Praman. Right? See, if somebody is not having a vision only, he has problem in his eyes. So then in front of him, even if sun is there, he may see as darkness, right? A blind person. For him, although sun is blazing, but then still he may find as everything as darkness. So similarly, for somebody who is a Vidusha, somebody who is by the dint of his self-realization, if that person has understood Atma Tattva, for him Veda is Shabda Praman and Swatah Praman. It is directly self-evident. But for somebody who is not like that, then for such a person, you may utilize Pratyaksha, Anuman, all other Pramanas to prove to him, or to make sure, I mean, to bring to him to the path of Vedas this way, like that. But what is Swatah Praman, self-evidence? Self-evidence means if you have that state of consciousness, if you have that purity of consciousness, you will hear the sound of Veda and there won't be any doubt. You will see that, yes, it is truth. I accept it as truth, like that. So that is what is self-evident. Swatah Praman, that way. State specific, sometimes in modern ideas of quantum mechanics and all that, this term is used, state specific. That knowledge is state specific. Depending on what is your state of consciousness, depends what you will receive as knowledge. So if you have, so that's how Vedic knowledge is also state specific. Devamrit Swami writes in one of his books and draws a comparison with quantum mechanics also. Basically, that state specificness, it's connected to Swatah Praman aspect. So that's why I brought that point like that. So the point is that, yes, the whole gist of the subject matter over here is Pratyaksha, Anuman, and all other Pramanas. They are not useless, but they are incomplete. And if they act complementary to Shabda, they become very, very useful. If they act or contradict Shabda, then we still go ahead with Shabda only as the authority, like that. So that is how Prabhupada has also spoken these ideas many places, how Veda is, irrespective of we perceive Vedas as right or wrong, Vedas are always right, that way. So this is what is spoken in this particular Anucheda's commentary also. Srila Jiva Goswami makes even more deeper points from many of these commentaries and all, but that's the gist basically. This is the gist of the matter over here. Fine. So I will just pause here in case there are any questions you may ask. Hare Krishna. Are there any questions on this? Sanatan going through? Yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, you said you brought the example of the quantum mechanics, that the knowledge is state specific, and you mentioned that the Amrit Maharaj makes this point that Vedic knowledge is also state specific. Is it that in the sense that to the degree one's own conscious, one will get attention from Vedas?
Actually, your voice broke, and that's how only last word, one or two words were heard.
Okay, so when we say the Amrit Maharaj said that Vedic knowledge is also state specific, so does it mean that to the degree one's own consciousness is elevated, to that degree one will get proportional revelation from Vedas? Is that what is the meaning?
See, the meaning is like this, that when you say it is state specific, meaning to the degree the consciousness is pure, as soon as you hear that Vedavani, the truth of that particular Vani, the truth of that matter will be realized by you. To the degree you are pure, to that degree you will perceive it as truth when you hear something from Vedavani, like that. So if the subject matter over there is of karma kand, and somebody, he's enlightened, he is self-realized soul, and he hears the aspect of karma kand, what does he understand from that verse? So he understands that it's a karma kand verse, and then what is the real idea behind that karma kand? Why is that there in the scheme of the Vedas, and how it is a truth, how it works, like that. It's not that he will understand the karma kand words to be pure devotional service or something. No, he will understand what is what. But when you hear some Vedvani, then that doubt whether this is true, is it really so? That kind of doubt will be there for somebody who is not purified in his consciousness. If you are purified in your consciousness, you hear the Veda and you accept it as truth. You don't have any doubts in it. That is the meaning of state specific. Got it?
Okay, bro. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes. Any other question? Yes, Manseva, bro.
Prabhuji, but it may happen sometime that the understanding of the meaning of the Vedas may be a question because it is very much indirect way or in a cryptic way it is written. That can come, no?
Yeah, so that is why what I was saying was that we are talking about the souls which are self-realized souls. So that is the point. If somebody is a self-realized soul, and when he hears about that particular aspect of the Vedas, so then what that particular aspect is saying, see, indeed, Vedas itself can have multiple layers of meaning within it. And depending on, see, even within Paramhamsas, you may have categories of Paramhamsas, and there could be greater revelation, lesser revelation, and all that. But what I'm saying is, depending on the purity of consciousness and that self-realization, there won't be any doubt that this word is a truth. That word, whatever level he gets that revelation, but he understands that this is the truth. There is, even though that pratyaksha or anuman, the aspects which are spoken there, they may not be verifiable by empirical means or like that. It's talking about some swarga, or it's talking about some other aspect, some effect of some medicine or something like that. So it's not that person has done that experiment or he has gone to swarga and seen and all. But if he has the necessary level of consciousness, he hears it and he understands it that yes, this is truth. He accepts it like that. Now, whether within that level, if there are some deeper and parokshavad meaning of Vedas and all that, so yes, we may understand that that is a revelation. Some revelation may be reserved for pure devotees. Some revelation may be revealed at a level of, realized yogi, at a level of Brahmadhyani. That may be there. But all of them, they will accept Vedavani as a fact. None of them will have any doubt about it. Based on Pratyaksha and Anuman, they may not have any doubt. That is called as Swatah Praman. That just like somebody may see the sun and he may see it as sun globe, or he may see it as sun ray, or he may see it as Vivaswan. But all of them have seen the sun that way. But somebody who has problem of blindness, he has not seen the sun only. He will say, where is the sun? Or I doubt whether there is any sun, or whatever, like a number of doubts can come. So that is the point. Got it?
Yes, Prabhuji, clear.
Yeah. Any other question on this aspect of Swata Praman, or how Shabda is not dependent on any other Praman? In fact, other Pramanas are dependent on Shabda. Okay, Bhakti Baba Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. But like even the shastras which are there, sometimes there are different, like there's difference in the verses itself among different sampradayas. Like for example, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was explaining that Sarvasya Pani Pada, that verse to Advaita Acharya, there he mentioned that in Chaitanya Bhagavad Gita mentioned that like in different sampradayas there is some variations. So how we understand that the parampara of this scriptures is maintained, because even in the bona fide sampradayas there is difference even in the original text.
No, see, if you see the text, as far as text of the Vedas is concerned, if you see Patha Vedas and all that, they are ascribed more to the point of writing them down like that. If Vedas come and a certain, certain verse is there or like that. So in Vedas, you will find that the Vedas are coming originally from Supreme Lord's breathing, and a particular part will be there. But that part is written in various traditions by different scribes. And based on that, the Patha Bheda has come. Originally, only when something like Shvetashvatar Upanishad is there, and then in one day of Brahma, Shvetashvatar Upanishad says the verse has this Patha, and in another day of Brahma, Shvetashvatar has that Patha, and that kind of idea is not there, and that nobody speaks that kind of idea. The verse may be same, but depending on what is the level of revelation that is there in a particular sampradaya, what is the path that one is following? Is he following the path of jnana? Is he following the path of yoga? Is he following the path of bhakti? So based on that, that particular verse may get different revelations. That is how in different sampradayas you find different revelations. So if at all you are talking about the part bheda, the word itself is different, or like that is ascribed to the scribes. It is coming from written tradition. It's not coming from the Shrot Parampara, oral tradition like that. So that is how it is. As far, so in different sampradayas, different understanding, it's more of a matter of what path they are following, what is their sadhya sadhan. Based on sadhya sadhan, same text of Vedas will give a different layer of meaning. It can give different layer of meaning. So that is how they are Vedas. They are not just one meaning and that's it, one meaning and straight finished. No, they are written only in such a way that there could be many meanings on that, depending on what is the path, sadhya sadhan kya hai bhai, uske anusar, like that. So based on that, yes, sometimes there may be even conflict also, that which meaning is right, then our meaning is right or your meaning is right, or like that. So that is why understanding and coming to the conclusion of Vedas is not a simple matter. It will include Paurva Parya. You have to study the prior statements, the later statements, Sakalya, the entirety of Vedas, and then which path is addressing what, which path, and like that. So it's quite a whole thing is a complex affair, no doubt. That way. So, but the point is, whether Brahmajnani or whether yogi or whether a bhakta, like that, they none of them will have doubt in the Shruti. Doubt that they will not have doubt in the Vedvan. All of them will accept it as truth. What level of truth, what layer of truth? Yes, it could differ because it is depending on sadhya sadhan, like that.
Prabhuji, that is understood that the revelation may be different for different people and level of that is okay. But my question is like, even in the original text, like sometimes, like so for example, again, Madhva Sampradayas, they don't accept that certain Leela didn't took place in Bhagavatam, like Brahma Vimohan Leela. Like they don't accept it. And there is always there is difference of opinion that how many number of verses are there in Bhagavatam in bona fide Sampradayas and bona fide acharyas of different sampradayas. So how to understand these things? And like as I already quoted before that about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explaining this to Advaita Acharya, that verse, there he says that yes, there is among different script I'm not remembering the exact word, but amongst different traditions, this is different words are changed a little bit here.
So that's what Prabhu, I did explain to you. When he says tradition, what is he meaning? Is he meaning written tradition, or is he meaning the tradition that what comes out of breathing of the Lord? What is your understanding?
Yes, good. But point I want to make is because both are bona fide sampradayas only, and acharyas are there. So how and acharyas are directly in a parampara. So how can there be this difference?
Difference of what?
In the original text itself.
So the point is this only, no, Prabhuji. every acharya, do you expect that he knows the, see, are you saying that every acharya who comes in the Kali Yuga should know the original part of the Vedas that comes out of breathing of the Lord? Is this what you are trying to say?
No,
He should
not
know, he should know what comes out as the original word of the Veda, whatever that 1 billion verses or like that. In that, what is the exact part every acharya should know? Is this what you are proposing?
at least the great acharyas, what they're the prominent acharyas, what they all should be telling the same thing in terms of the original text of the same scripture, if they are referring to.
No, not necessarily. It's not like that. See, they come for what purpose? They come for a purpose of explanation of the eternal Siddhanta. They don't come to tell you what exact varna should be there in this and this richa of the Veda or that scripture of Veda and all. So oftentimes, whatever is the text available from the written tradition, that is taken, and that text is taken and commented on them by them to show what is the eternal Siddhanta, what is the Sanatan Siddhanta. They don't get into the matter of why this part bed is occurring, here it is sarvata, there it is sarvat, whatever. That kind of thing is not done by acharyas or like that. That is sometimes ascribed to a certain sage from Veda, like Yajnavalkya. He is receiving certain mantras and he is revealing. So then he becomes an agent in revealing, agent or instrument in revealing certain portions of Vedas. So whatever part he has spoken, that's the standard part. That is it. But as far as the prominent acharya is concerned or like that, so that expectation is not there. It's not spoken by anybody like that. Their purpose is this. They come to explain you what is the eternal Siddhant, Sanatan Siddhant, based on certain text of the scriptures, prominent text also. Could be Bhagavatam, could be Mahabharata, or could be like that. But then they are not into what exactly is part of or any part of the Vedas or like that. That nobody has ascribed that kind of authority to even the later acharyas and all that. That is only to some rishis from the Vedas, mantra drashtas and all that. So although these beings are, the acharyas are also beyond four defects, but we don't say that they are mantra drashta acharyas or like that. So that's why they should know the original part from the Vedas or like that. It's not like that. That idea should not be ascribed that in that particular manner. Madhvacharya himself speaks, or even other acharyas speak that in the available tradition that we have, so this is the part that I see. Why should he talk such things? That I see this part in the available tradition. And he should just say, no, I know what is the part. I know entire Vedas, wherever it is from and all. But he doesn't. So the particular tradition is there, that is taken, and the scripture is taken from there, and he explains what is the Siddhanta. Like that, this is the Siddhanta. That is their job, basically. That is what they have come to establish. And even scriptures, they are quite specific sometimes. They may only talk about Mahabharata, or they may only talk about Srimad Bhagavatam, and they may not comment on other portions of Vedas at all. That is there, like that. So this is my point. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Mahatseva Prabhu.
Prabhuji, so is it like that in Puranas Kalpa Bhed can be there, but in Vedas Kalpa Bhed cannot be there? Is it like that too?
No, Kalpa Bheda means, see, you understand this point. When you talk about Kalpa Bheda, so Kalpa Bheda means an entire portion may change, certain text may change. Partha Bhed is what we are talking about.
No,
right?
Prabhuji, because in between you made one comment that one day of Brahma, this is there, other day of Brahma, this is there. So I am asking this question. That becomes a kalpa bhed, no?
Yeah, that becomes Kalpa Bhed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what
Correct.
I asked this question. That is it, because in Puranas we several times hear about kalpa bhed, or they talk about in the commentary about kalpa bhed and all. But are you saying that in Vedas kalpa bhed will not be there? As you said that in all days of Brahma it will remain the same. Or this is not
No, not like that. That's not right. See, Shruti, your two different points are there. One is of Kalpa Bheda and one is of Patha Bheda. Like that. See, as far as Vedas are concerned, Vedas, they appear in every day of Brahma, right? In the beginning of every day of Brahma, Vedas come out from his mouth. Not only in the first day, every day they come out. So when they come out of the Vedas, so this is going to be the next topic, in fact, what happens when they come out and all. So when they come out of the mouth of Brahma, all those syllables, even when you talk about Vedas or Puranas and all that, all those syllables are exactly same only. There is no difference of that Puran syllables which come out of Brahma like that. Difference arises when Vyasadeva compiles them in the beginning of Kali Yuga. In Treta Yuga, when Vyasadeva compiles them for the sake of Kali Yuga, that is where what we are going to have in our Kali Yuga, what scripture we are going to have is getting decided, right? So what comes out of breathing of the Lord is fixed thing only. That is a fixed process that way. But how those scriptures are compiled by Vyasadeva at the beginning of in Treta Yuga, that is in Dwapar Yuga, that is a matter of discussion that will come in the Anuched 12, like that. So even when you take Vedas, point is the particular Shruti may be there and same Shruti mantra, Shruti text comes out in every day of Brahma. But it's not that every time the Shruti text comes out, it has to refer to that same Yajnavalkya or same Shvetaketu or whoever. No, there is also Kalpabhed. It can refer to a personality from another era, another day of Brahma. So what is there in Puranas is it's also there in the Vedas. But what happens about Vedas specifically is the words of the Vedas, the Shruti, the words, they don't change only. Even if you choose from another realm, another day of Brahma or whatever you are talking about, the words, the part remains constant. While what happens with Puranas is that part that may change, that may have some differences in it, like that. So Kalpa Bhed is there at both places. You have to see whether part Bhed is there or not. You are getting this, Mahatseva? No?
Not fully, Prabhuji. Maybe in next
Okay.
section probably. it will
Yeah,
be-
yeah. So when I'll come to Anuched 12, then that time you will understand maybe clearly. That time we will talk about where do Vedas originate from, and then what does Vyasadeva do at the beginning of whatever, in the beginning of Kali Yuga, at the end of Dwapar Yuga. So that is where we will see that. Then the whole process may be clear over there.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Yeah. But in any case, on Bhakti Vaibhav Prabhu's question, the point is this, that the same Veda is there, the same message is there, but depending on which path is getting followed, what philosophy is getting followed, that particular layer of meaning is discussed that way. Now that is leading to conflict, or that is leading to think that only we are right and you are not right. That is another point. But if somebody is able to do samanvaya, then he may be able to see at which level which sampradaya is speaking. They may not have so much a point of conflict, but they can see that at which level who is speaking that particular way. So that will be considered a samanvaya. Okay. Anything else? Okay, so we have one more Anucheda, which is just Pramanas only, mostly about how Tarka and all that is not so much meaning. Vedas, they discourage Tarka and all that, which is independent of Shabda, but Shabda is considered the highest. So we will see that in the beginning tomorrow, just maybe 15-20 minutes. And then we move on to the very important section of Anuchad 12 onwards, the history of the Vedas, what are the difficulties in studying Vedas right now, and also the historical aspects. And then finally, that is why how Srimad Bhagavatam becomes most authoritative. So we'll see that tomorrow. We'll begin with after Anuchad 11, we will begin with Anuchad 12. Right. Hare Krishna. Okay, Prabhu. So it's 8:37. I'll stop here. Shri Tattva Sandarbha ki jai. Shri Jiva Goswami ki jai. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.